Just brighter days. Welcome, welcome, everybody. It's just so beautiful to see all these wonderful faces in the screen. I love just kind of just going through and just trying to capture everybody's faces and smiles and trying to figure out what you're eating and drinking and all that good stuff. Yeah. So. Yeah, let's just kind of arrive into the space together. I invite you just to take a gentle breath in and yeah, just feel the ground beneath you. And just kind of like, let us be with the unseen story that holds us together at the here now and as we move forward, and let this be a moment of arriving just fully into our body, into this community, into what is sacred in you. And before we begin, let's pause to honor the land that we are on. I am currently in Asheville, North Carolina, um, um, which rests on the ancestral lands of the Cherokee people, who have stewarded this land since time immemorial. And though many were forcibly removed through the violent Trail of Tears, the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians remain a living culture here, a living presence and living wisdom, and we honor their sovereignty, their resilience, and their sacred relationship with this land. May our time together here today be guided by humility, reverence, and a commitment to repair with each other and with the earth. So let us arrive fully together. Um, and I am going to hand it over to Stephanie Briggs, who's going to do an opening for us this morning.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for that grounding practice. And good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I thought we would lead a practice that is a poem, a guided practice that is a poem. And it's a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. And when you hear the word you, this is a gift to yourself. I was thinking about what we're going to be talking about today, and something about ourselves, our self reverence. That's important here. So I ask if you can just, as we started, place your feet on the ground, or feel yourself grounded, whether you're sitting on the floor or in a chair. And your breath should be a restful breath, like a breath that you have when you are sleeping, a restful breath. And I want you to either close your eyes if you're comfortable, or lower your gaze so you're not distracted. And I'm going to share with you this poem. But first, let's breathe. My dear, my dear, my dear, my dearest, I am here for you. I am here for you. My dear, my dearest, I know you are there. I know you are there. My dear, my dear, my dear, I know you suffer, and that is why I am here for you. I offer you my presence. I offer you my presence. My dear, I am suffering. I have fear. I have anger. I have sadness. I am suffering, and I want you to know I am suffering, and I want you to know I am doing my best. I am suffering, and I am doing my best. Breathe. Please help me because I have not been able to free myself of this alone. I have not been able to free myself of this suffering alone. Breathe. My dear, my dearest, those I love, this is a happy moment. This is a happy moment. Having presence with you, acknowledging and recognizing you is a happy moment. This is a moment of joy. Breathe. To be present is a moment of joy. It is the fullest, largest, most wonderful gift I can give at this time, in this moment, my presence. Will you receive it? Will you receive it? Breathe. My dear, my dear, my dearest. Breathe. Take a few deep breaths to acknowledge the love for your life and by moving your body a bit. May you all find reverence and presence for those you meet along the way. And I give thanks for your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I hope you can, yeah, feel how that was received, the gift of that offering, the gift of your presence and spirit. Um, yeah, what a joy. Um, and there is no rush, but at some point, Stephanie, feel free to, you know, share that afterwards for anyone who wants to engage in that practice another time. Um, all right. Good morning, friends. So many of us, I think most of us are in morning or late morning hours, but also welcome to those and other time zones today. Thank you for being here in this midsummer season. We know there's a lot of travel and, you know, restfulness and also aliveness happening right now. So we welcome all of that. And of course, the heaviness, the grief, the sadness is with us too. So we welcome your tender parts, your heartbreak. Um, some of us know a beloved elder named Joanna Macy. If you happen to know Joanna's work, really one of the great kind of spiritual activists, spiritual warriors of our time. Joanna is amidst her final breaths. She's been really close to the Thrive community, and yeah, we're holding her in our heart as well. And of course, all of those people in our lives, right, who have passed recently and are going through hard times. So part of what we're doing is we're gathering to nurture ourselves, but also so we can, support and show up for those out there in our lives and in our world. So thank you for being part of this work. We are excited to dive into a new theme. Today we're going to begin exploring sacred relationships, transforming connection through reverence and presence. And really, Stephanie just, I think offered, the heart and essence, of what we're aspiring to deepen into together. So thank you, Stephanie. If we can just take that place that we went to for just a few brief moments and try to practice that here with each other throughout this session, but in our lives, yeah, a lot can open up, a lot can transform. Um, Renee is going to briefly share our link to the community agreements. No need to look at it, but if, we like to presence it, if you want to reconnect with how we're aspiring to be together, keep in mind that resource. I think it has some extra relevance in this theme this month. And so even if it's not today, you might revisit our community agreements, which are really also practices, right? They're ways of being that we're trying to cultivate. We are going to be connecting today. So our work best sided and I both we'll be sharing some context, and then, we'll be in practice together as we often are. There'll be a couple breakouts, kind of there's an extra encouragement to really try to participate in those. That's a big part of the work we're engaging in. And of course, if you're in a place where you're not able to, you can put an equal sign in front of your name, and Renee will track that, and you can just have time with yourself. We will have a 10-minute break as always at the top of that hour too. So know that there'll be a moment for you to take a breath and nourish yourself and move your body. So that will be forthcoming. So that's what we're up to. Thank you again for coming. I'm going to start us off. And so I want to, jump right into this topic of sacred relationships. And I'll just invite you to start with noticing like what comes up inside when you even, when you first saw our theme for this month. Does it make you tight, or does it give you flutters? Um, I think we feel a lot of things, right? When we start to think about and feel about our relationships, our close relationships, and just interacting with others. And so sacred relationships, we're really talking about our close, intimate relationships. So for those of us in partnership and long-term relationships, right, this is relevant for those containers. We're talking about our friends and family, which again, many of us have very different family systems, a lot of background, right? So a lot stirs up when we bring our attention to our family. But we're also talking about colleagues. Some of us work very closely with others. And we know that as you work closely with people, right, you connect at the human and heart level as well. We're talking about community. This community of practice. Many of us are embedded in other communities, so we're talking about our relationships in those spaces as well. And ultimately, we're talking about any human being you come into connection with, right? Life is often introducing us to new people. And so these practices are relevant to all parts of our life. So, sacred relationships. This is about seeing our relationships as an integral part of our spiritual practice, our relationships as opportunities for growth, for healing, for transformation, relationships as opportunities for waking up even more fully, to who we are and to how we're called to be and to what we're called to do. Um, Through other people, we are shaped, we are softened, we are stretched, and ultimately we are seen. We see each other. And in sacred relationships, right, we see the divine, the miraculous, the beauty, the light, the inner light, the outer light that's radiating, right? There's such power in our seeing of each other. I'm a parent, as I think I've shared before. I think we have many parents here too, and just yesterday, I'm single parenting right now, just one of my daughters, and just the power. I mean, she's 8, right? So she's still kind of young though, growing quickly. But the power of my seeing, right, my loving witnessing of her is it's so nurturing, and I take it for granted. Sometimes I get I get tired of whatever it is. Um, but I got yesterday. I had a beautiful moment of just reconnecting, of like just my loving presence in her life offers her so much, helps her blossom forth. I want to acknowledge that the work of the spiritual work of relationships is easy with some people in our lives, and it's really hard with others, right? So there's a huge spectrum. I know many of us have soul friends, soulmates, kind of kindred spirits in our lives that we've found, that we've chosen. And some of those relationships, this work may just be natural, right? It's just who and how we are together. And then, right, you go and spend some time with your family. Um, and suddenly it's a different context, right? The work can really be a struggle. Um, and even our long-term partnerships, right, which we can have a deep spiritual connection with, we also understand that, over time, this is layered, and it's complicated, and we can forget each other. We can lose sight of seeing one another, right? And so I think the gift for some of us this month too is a returning, right? A refreshing of our seeing and being with people in our lives. But today we're going to begin this work with each other, right? So in the context of Sangha, um, Thich Nhat Hanh again, I'm going to paraphrase, right? Many of you have seen that quote where he says, the next Buddha will be the Sangha, right? The next Buddha will take the form of a Sangha, right? And so um, that's that's the spirit we're going to call on today, right? How can we see each other, love each other, raise each other up, into the fullness of our beauty and our power and purpose. Um, I am going to share 6 slides, so this is going to be briefly, um, but I want to do some framing before we go into a breakout and do our first practice. Let me see. Okay, here. All right. So first, I'm going to share a couple quotes that are in our theme packet. Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. Grace Lee Boggs. Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. If you didn't know this, many of us really honor Adrienne Marie Brown and all of the wisdom and magic she brings into the world. Grace Lee Boggs was one of Adrienne's close mentors and elders in Grace's last 2 decades. So if you haven't checked out her life story, her work, just a beautiful human being, and another great spiritual activist like Joanna Macy, who graced our planet recently. The longer I live, the more that I learn that love, whether friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. James Baldwin. Love is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Love this quote. It just gets to the heart of why I show up in community, even though there's parts of me that want to hide out. So we're going to be exploring mirroring and magnifying each other today in this first practice. So we're gonna be engaging with 4 practices when we go into our breakouts. They're all going to be kind of woven together. And the first is we're going to be engaging in relational presence, right? Stephanie already started to kind of ground us, right, in that way of being. There are many ways to define these terms. So these are just one way. Relational presence is a state of being present with another person or group of people, rooted in connection and loving awareness, rather than an agenda, judgments, or expectations. So we're going to be dropping into that deeper place of presence as we're in our groups with each other. Relational reverence, holding another person or group of people as sacred and with deep respect, attuning to their heart, their inner light, their essential nature. When we show up in presence, holding reverence, it transforms our connection. It transforms the field of connection between us. And even though it can often be subtle, right? It's a very powerful difference. Sacred listening. I think a lot of us get this, but just to name it, right? We're listening not just with our ears and our thoughts, but with our full bodies, our hearts and our spirits, receiving the words, the silence, and what lies in between with love, gratitude, and reverence. So we're going to be listening again from this deeper place of presence and reverence. And then mirroring. At times you'll hear me use the term mirroring back. Another way to say that is reflecting back. So mirroring is reflecting back to a person or group of people their core values, their intentions, their gifts, their potential, their sacredness in a way that they feel seen, heard, and valued. Some of us do this professionally. So again, just to honor, some of us are very experienced at this. And some of us just do this naturally. We might not even have a name for it, right? It's just a innate gift we have. But this is something we can also practice and grow in, and so it'll be part of our process this morning. Um, all right, so that's just to set the stage for our breakouts. Let me pull out the instructions for this. So this is a slightly more nuanced breakout practice than we've done before. It's still pretty straightforward, but there's a couple more layers than we typically have. So I'm actually going to put these in the chat. Uh, Let me see. I'm gonna have to do this in two parts. Tell you what, I'm gonna read it first, and um, then we'll go into it. So you are going to be in a group of 3 people. So you're going to be in a triad. There may be 1 or 2 groups of 2 people, which is fine. And each person's going to have 4 minutes to share. I'll share the prompts in a moment here. So the first person will go. You'll have 4 minutes to share. We'll track timing for you. And then at the end of your 4 minutes, the other 2 people, or however many people you're with, are each going to have a minute to mirror back. And it's the mirroring back, right? It's just trust your inner guidance, right? Just to mirror back the essence, the heart of what you felt from them, what you've heard from them, right? And no wrong or right. Just trust your way of mirroring back, reflecting back what touched you, what stood at you, what stood out to you, right? In an essential way. Um, Here are the prompts in the chat. One moment here. So you're going to share your name and location because, again, we're a big enough group. We're still getting to know each other. The first essential prompt is, what is a gift you bring to your relationships, right? What is a gift you individually bring to your relationships? Second, what is a personal growing edge that shows up in your relationships? This invites a little bit of vulnerability, right? Growing edge could also be like, what's a personal challenge? Sometimes traditionally the word might have been, oh, what's a weakness, right? We're using growing edge, right? Something that you're working with, that you're growing with. And then lastly, share a story of share a story of how you have nurtured the sacred in another person's life, and also a story of when someone has nurtured the sacred in you. So that, it might be a little more difficult to remember that, but we hope in the process you'll remember that story. For each of these prompts, the invitation is to expand on it a little bit. 4 minutes is enough time for you not just to say, oh, a gift I bring is, I'm a good listener, right? So draw that out a little bit. Share an example, right, of how your listening, right, is really a gift to other people. So for each one, expand a little bit. Keep in mind you have 4 minutes. So some further instructions. So when you're in the speaker role, the invitation is to bring forth your authenticity and as much vulnerability as you're comfortable with. Um, for many of us, this is an opportunity to stretch, to be it to shine our light, or maybe be a little more vulnerable than we are sometimes. Know that you are being held with love, right? With care, with reverence. For listeners, listen with presence, listen with reverence. Behold each person's light, feel their heart, feel their spirit. And then when you reflect back, share your deeper sensing and seeing, mirroring the clear light of what they've shared. And please do your best to refrain from offering guidance, right? Wanting to fix or maybe solve anything, offer a tip. Just reflect back as clearly as you can. Just the gift of your reflection. You'll just have a minute. If you end up in a group of two, for the third round, you can just spend that time however you both feel called to. When you get into your groups, please, one person volunteer to go first. After the first round, a second person can volunteer to go. Do your best. We're going to share timing cues. So you'll see a little message come on. When the 4 minutes is up, and then when the 2 minutes is up and it's time to transition to the next person. So do your best to kind of watch for our cues. So that's the journey we're going to go on. I'm going to share the prompts one more time so they're at the bottom of the chat and in clear view. Renee, Susan, yes.
So can you just confirm we have 4 minutes for each thing? And so we're gonna do like 444, 444,
Uh,
444, or
that's a great question. No, 4 minutes for the prompts, right? So,
but you
so
talked about going around. So like do I
yeah,
do all
so
three and then the next person does all three?
yeah, let me say it one more time. Yeah, that's a really great question, Susan. So, first person will share for 4 minutes and then come to a close. And then the two people who have been listening, they will mirror back. They will each have a minute, right? So that's roughly around 6 minutes. There'll be a little
Got
bit
it.
of buffer time for the transition.
Got
Then
it.
the second person will have 4 minutes, 2 minutes of mirroring back. Then the third person will have 4 minutes. So that's our flow. Renee, are we good to go? All right, prompts are in the chat. Thank you, friends. We'll see you shortly. All right. Welcome back, friends. Um, Thank you for sharing. Thanks for going there. Thanks for being flexible if the timing got jumbled anywhere, all of it. We would love just to take a few minutes to hear, two or three voices. How was that? What did you notice? What did you notice inside your own experience? What did you notice in the group field? You're welcome to share in the chat if there's anything you want to name, and if you want to bring your voice into the room, you're welcome to raise your hand. And Aaron, we'll start with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I will share briefly, or I'll probably start crying, but it was just so nourishing. And you know how things happen with the right timing. I just came from the hospital with my aunt, who's my dearest, closest aunt, and she's dying, and I've been spending time with her dying. And you ended up putting me in a room with two hospice chaplains, so it just couldn't have been more fitting.
Yay. Thank you for sharing, Aaron, and blessings on your aunt and your journey with her. Yeah, Nancy, thanks for rolling with the timing. It is a lot to juggle and to have time containers at all, right? In an ideal world, we would be in a big room with hours and hours just going there. Any other voices? Any other noticings or reflections? Sarah, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. I really recognize the strength of what we collectively, what we've created already in July, as rooting in the sacred as a group. I had a level of just confidence and trust in my breakout room people from like just right away, and I could just lay myself bare, knowing that everything and anything I put forth would be held, and for sure that happened. But I just want to say kind of a collective thank you to the presence that we've built over these months. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that collective noticing and appreciation. Um, Lana or Lanja, or please share your name with us too, so I can at least have it
It's
correct.
Lanya, like lasagna.
Lanya, thank you.
The easiest way to remember. I would just I really Nancy's comment around the timing. Uh, I could absolutely appreciate that. And at the same time, because I was the person that went first, so I was like, I have to make sure I'm on time. But what it did is that it forced me to just go with what came up for me first. And I think if I had had more time, I'd be like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But I knew I didn't have time, so I just had to go what came up for me first, and I just need to go with that. And so it was messy, but it probably was more real than if I'd had time to kind of go, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I just had to get into the messiness of it. And so I'm kind of grateful, as uncomfortable as that was, I'm also grateful for the insights that came from that. The double-edged sword of having not a lot of time.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Lanya. Friends, thank you for your sharing, for your listening, for your presence, for the warmth and connection that we're radiating through Sacred Zoom. We are going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be back 10 after. We're going to put on some sweet music. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you shortly.
Okay, hola, hola, welcome back. Hope everybody was able to, yeah, just take a breath, get something to eat, take care of some needs. They will continue the practice of what is it that we're talking about? Relationships. At this, so yeah, I'm gonna kind of guide you through a meditation. I am gonna light a candle here that I was gonna light earlier and I forgot, but just to have the presence of the light. I'll put it here. Yeah, so just at the retake your seat again, and as if you are arriving at an altar of your own becoming. If they would like, if they let your spine just find a length of dignity, and just let your belly soften and let the air around you just become spacious. There's lots of air just for us to breathe in and breathe out. And if it feels comfortable, you may close your eyes, or if the downcast your eyes, or there's also ways that we can just focus on a point of anything in front of you, just so that you're just softly just kind of going inward. And I would like to invite you to at the place one hand on your heart, and the other on your lower belly. Um, And just begin to feel the breath moving as it arrives in and it releases out, arriving in, releasing out, arriving in, releasing out. And just begin to just feel just the relaxation in your body. And let your breath carry you here. And let the stillness be your first act of relationship with yourself. If it feels right, whisper softly, I am here with you in full breath. I am here with you in full body. I am here with you in full presence. And continue to breathe in and out. And again, I am here with you in full breath. I am here with you in full body. I am here with you in full presence. So let's begin this journey through sacred relationships by becoming present to what is. We begin where all sacred relationships begin, which is with presence. Presence is the radical act of noticing, of making ourselves available not only to others, but to ourselves. To show up not as role or function, but as pulse and presence. Let yourself notice the air on your skin. Notice the seat beneath you. Notice the rhythm of your breath, not needing to change it. Just allow the breath to have its own rhythm, whatever that is. At this moment, it constantly changes. Let presence gather in the space between your hands and your chest. Let it spread down to your hips, through your shoulders, into the soles of your feet. Now I invite you to a slow shoulder roll or a gentle neck stretch. Nothing too hard, just slowly, just kind of moving your neck and your shoulders. And as you settle even more into your body, softly repeat, my breath is here. My body is listening. I choose presence, not performance. My breath is here. My body is listening. I choose presence, not performance. Feel how your nervous system begins to respond, not with force, but with an invitation. Our bodies know presence and they remember safety. Even now, your social nervous system is listening, reading, and looking for signals of safety and tone rhythm, breath. Just let your whole body feel it. Feel the I am safe, I am present. And let's carry this awareness forward into how we see one another. From presence, we moved into reverence, the sacred posture of attention. Let your attention soften, not away, but deeper in. Let the space behind your eyes become spacious. Let your jaw release and let your heart open. Now I want to invite you to bring to mind someone you're in a relationship with, perhaps somebody you love, someone you want to get to know, perhaps someone who's complex and you have a complex relationship with. Let their presence arrive not as a story, but as energy, right? So you don't want to go into the narrative of this person, just their energy, and feel their presence. Let their presence arrive in front of you. Now, very quietly speak this out loud. You are not mine to shape. You are a mystery to behold. And let those words move through your breath again slowly. You are not mine to shape. You are a mystery to behold. I meet you with reverence, not expectation. I meet you with reverence, not expectation. What does it mean to revere someone, not for who you wish they were, but for the holy mystery they already are? What does it mean to revere someone, not for who we wish they were, but for the holy mystery they already are? Let yourself feel into that question and notice what shifts in your body when the sacred enters the gaze. What does it mean to revere someone, not for who we wish they were, but for the holy mystery they already are? Now I invite you to gently bow your head, then lift it up again slowly. And continue to just feel into that question and notice what shifts in your body when the sacred enters the gaze. Be with it. What does it mean to revere someone, not for who you wish they were, but for the holy mystery they already are? And for a second time, I invite you to just gently bow your head down to their energy and lift it back up slowly. And now let's begin to give voice to what we find or found in that place. When we root in presence and reverence, our voice begins to shift. Bring attention to your throat, to the gateway of your voice, to find the place where breath becomes language. If you like, you may rest your hand on your throat or just simply listen within. And now, with gentleness, speak out loud. This is my truth, and I am listening for yours. This is my truth, and I am listening for yours. What arises when you speak honestly, and what becomes possible when we truly listen without interruption? What does that look like? What does that feel like? To just listen without having anything in your head that you already have an answer to, right? What arises when we speak honestly? And what becomes possible when we truly, truly listen without interruption? And again, in a soft, gentle voice, if you'd like, I would like you to repeat these words. My words are not weapons. My listening is not a task. This is sacred communication. My words are not weapons. My listening is not a task. This is sacred communication. Continue to just breathe in and breathe out words. And let your breath offer these next words. I will listen to understand. I will speak with care. I will honor silence as part of this conversation. I will listen to understand. I will speak with care. I will honor silence as part of the conversation. And feel how your body responds to that devotion. It's a devotional practice to really understand and speak with care and just honor the silence that may be part of that conversation. Feel how your body responds to that devotion. Now let's move towards honoring the space between. And in order to stay in reverence, we must also know where we begin and end in our relationships. I would like you to gently just stretch your arms out wide and then just bring them inward across your chest, not as a shield, but as a sanctified container, right? We're just holding a very sacred container. in that gesture. And imagine a gentle circle forming around your body. Again, not as an isolation, but as integrity, as a sacred commitment to self and other, right? And we're just holding ourselves in a sacred container, and then gently forming a circle around our bodies, not in isolation, but integrity. As a sacred commitment to self and other. And softly say, I honor my limits, I love you, and I love me too. I honor my limits, I love you, and I love me too. I honor my limits, I love you, and I love me too. And let your boundary be the vessel in this relationship and not a wall. Let it hold what matters. Let it bless what you can give and what you cannot. Let it bless what you can give and what you cannot. Both are a sacred act. Now, with the breath, speak in, and with the breath out, say softly, I am not available for everything. My no is holy. My clarity is care. My no is holy. My clarity is care. As you continue to hold yourself, I want you to just spend some time in this place, letting this space become a refuge so that you may meet others not in depletion, but in sacred self-awareness. All sacred relationships spirals outward towards community. All sacred relationship spirals outward towards community. Let your awareness grow wide. Feel into the web that holds you. Think of a friend, a neighbor, a teacher, a stranger, a beloved, a lineage, and say out loud as a prayer these following words. May they be held. May they be seen. May they know love that listens and boundaries that bless. May they be held. May they be seen. May they know love that listens and boundaries that bless. May they be held. May they be seen. May they know love that listens and boundaries that bless. Now take one breath for yourself. One breath for someone you love. One breath for someone you've struggled with. And let each breath become a thread in the sacred net of care. What does that breath of thread look like? What does that sacred breath that becomes a thread in the sacred net of care look like? Who's there? Who are you with? What does it look like? What are you seeing? Who are you talking to? How's your body? How's your nervous system? Now I invite you to place both hands on your knees, palms down, grounding collective presence. And in these final moments, I'm going to give you 3 questions, which they will also be the questions that will be going into breakouts. But I want you to just sit with them and ask yourself, what relationship is asking for reverence right now? What relationship is asking for reverence right now? What boundary is longing to be spoken? Where am I being called to bring presence and care? Where am I being called to bring presence and care? And just let the answers be seeds and let the silence be soil. And I will end with these final words that we may carry with us. This is sacred relationship. This is presence made real. This is reverence made visible. May I carry it in word, gesture, and breath. This is sacred relationship. This is presence made real. This is reverence made visible. May I carry it in word and gesture and breath. You can let yourself softly rise gently when ready. Around. Kind of look around in your space and just kind of acclimate back to your room. Take a deep breath. And so we're going to go into breakout rooms again. And this time you'll be going into groups of 4. And it'll be the same instructions as before. If you don't want to be in a breakout room, please put the equal sign in front of your name so that Renee could put you in a separate breakout room. And you'll each have 4 minutes. And we'll continue to track time and let you know when the next person goes and then the next. And again, the prompts are the same as in the ending meditation, which is what relationship is asking for reverence right now? What boundary is longing to be spoken? And where am I being called to bring presence and care? And in this breakout, you're just going to be speaking to the prompts. Please decide who's going to go first and second. Everybody's going to have I think it's about 4 minutes again. Yeah, and then we'll come back to the whole group and have a whole group share and have more time for a whole group share. All right, we're ready?
If there may be one group of 3, if you're in a group of 3, you can use the final round freely.
Okay.
And just
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to just say to folks if they don't watch the clock too much of it is anxiety producing. If they will let you know when the next person should go and just kind of be easeful with yourselves. All right, Renee.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you. It's like it takes time for folks to come back, and then all of a sudden it's like, wham, you're all here. So I hope you had a great the breakout session. And yeah, we have the great opportunity that we have 20 minutes for whole group share, which usually we don't have that abundance of time. So yeah, just kind of like take a deep breath and basically I just want to hear what your experience was of the meditation and your breakout at the session. And if you want to share something about the first breakout session and you didn't have an opportunity to do that, you can also do that now. And please raise your hand, or if you just want to share in the chat, that's also available for you. That's the invitation. And again, the prompts are: what relationship is asking for reverence right now? What boundary is longing to be spoken? And where am I being called to bring presence and care?
I can speak up a little bit. It's Enver. Hi, decided.
Hi, Amber.
Hi, thank you so much for your practice. first of all. Deeply meaningful. Thank you. Kind of had to remind myself that no can be holy. Yes, absolutely. Just grateful to the group, and we all got a chance to speak. And I just want to thank Melissa. She spoke the last, and something she said at the end just stood with me, and I have to sit with it. And the question is, where am I being called to bring presence and care? And Melissa, I think, hopefully I phrased it correctly. You said, I want to bring presence into the discernment what actual care is. And I just have to sit with that because care is a big word, but what is actual care? Especially in a complicated relationships and challenging. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Enver. Is it Enver? Enver? Am I saying
Enver,
that right?
like Denver, no D. Yeah.
Enver. Thank
My
you.
station is Enver, yes.
Thank you. Pat Nixon. Do you guys know where to find the raise your hand thingy on the bottom?
I'm sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead, Pat.
not.
No, you go ahead. I just want to make sure that people know so
I
that
was out of order in that. But I did want to thank you, Besida, in particular for offering that phrase, holy mystery. You know, it is an uncommon phrase when we are filled with wonder and joy and awe. But when we are looking at a complicated relationship and bringing reverence to that instead of working with our expectations, who we want this person to be, to think about holy mystery. So that really was a wonderful frame for me to think about what I wanted to say, perhaps in my group, but also as each of those individuals were offering so honestly and fully. I thought about their situation in that wise too. Thank you very much for that.
thank you. Thank you. At the the other thing that Amber said was, just thinking about the sacredness in the no. And there's also in nonviolent communication that I practiced for a while, is what's the yes and the no, right? What is the person saying yes to in their no to you? And that's another way to hold it. So thank you. Nicole.
Thank you. First, I would like to say I'm so thankful for that meditation. And I saw a request in the chat if we could have a copy of it because I was doing my best to be present, but some of the things I was just like, oh my goodness, I never heard that. I need to sit with that.
I will send it
Holy
out.
no, the whole, oh my goodness. I love the visual of the boundary as a vessel because boundaries has been someone who is recovering from being a people pleaser. Boundaries have been something that have been challenging for me because I've always considered, or how I've seen, or people speak about boundaries, it's like this defense, like this is my boundary. And like it just felt more combative. So like the idea of boundaries as a vessel of holding this, like I really, really, really resonated with that. And I really would like to do the meditation again. So and then a couple other things that I wanted to share. Um, I'm exploring nonviolent communication, and something that is also a growing space for me is like learning how to be present with what is emerging, and what is alive and the need that is there. And so I've really been sitting with like how to care. And I'm also a teacher, so I like doing acronyms. And so I came up with the CARE acronym that I would like to share in case and I'm still sitting with it too, because I'm learning how do we care and for what's alive. And so the CARE acronym that I came up with was um, considerate, active attention, responding to emergent energy. And the reason why I've been sitting with that is because like sometimes we put that word out, care, but it's a big word, you know, and to really, and it could mean something different for everyone. So I've been really sitting with like, what is it that we do? And it is like being present to what's alive rather than the conditioning. Um, so just wanted to put that out there. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Could you put that acronym in the chat? Because
Okay.
I was able to capture the first two.
Okay.
Um, you know, and at the before you go, Antonio, I just want to say that there's in the theme packet, there's a couple of practices in there that speaks to it, the just kind of ways that it that we can at the whole at the communication very differently, like nonviolent communication, but there's also transparent communication, there's mirroring, right? There's all these practices. And again, these are practices, right? It's like I have been practicing nonviolent communication for I think more than 10 years. And in the beginning, I hated it because it was like I had to do it this way, you know, it's like, you know, I hear you and you know, and that's not just the way that I talk, right? But, and so it had to become me, it had to become my language. But if we are patient with it, the practices, they will become the natural and they will flow. So I just wanted to share that. Antonio?
Um, Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that acronym. Considered active attention responding to emergent energy. Kind of sounds like what I'm working on right now. And thank you, Besaida and Joshua, for leading this today. And one thing that I was thinking about based off of the conversations that I've had is that one of the relationships that I'm kind of working on is, or trying to work on, or maybe not really working on, is with my parents. And there's a person at work that's been bothering me, and I was kind of thinking, what was the t like what's going on at this work relationship that also can happen in my personal relationships. And I was just thinking about individuals, like the type of relationship when I'm with somebody who's reactive, somebody's automatically feels something, they're angered or for whatever reason, and then they feel it and they react. And I've learned from my youth that I wasn't allowed to react, or I that was my safety mech. That was my I did that for my own safety, to learn not to react, not to have my own emotions, and um, and so that's kind of where I'm at the moment, like with my relationship with others and myself. Like, how do I look at someone who can react and try to nurture that in me? Not that I want to react, but just to have that strong emotion, because I'm pretty much muted. Like drama starts happening, I'm like, nope, we're gonna bring this stuff down. We're gonna like we're not gonna go to crazy town, right? And I've been feeling somewhat resentful when people like come into my office and slam the door and they say I'm pissed and they're just going off. And I'm looking at them thinking, oh, what a luxury to be able to just come into someone's office and just rant and rave. And I wish I could do that, right? And so I'm kind of holding that container that you talked about, like that container for myself and how I can feel. But the other thing that's been also bothering me is just the connection with other people. Like even all of us speaking English as a language, there's always going to be a disconnect. And I think in this last group, just thinking about the sadness that I have with my relationship with my parents, they speak English, but there are things that, like my mom said to me once when I came out to her, that there are things that she wanted to tell me, but she couldn't tell me because she had to say it in Tagalog. The problem is like I would never really understand how she really feels because I can understand the language very in a very rudimentary level like as a child, but I'll never understand how she feels. And then when I speak to them in English, there's still a disconnect. It doesn't feel like a strong relationship, which is really sad to me because I think about folks who their parents speak English and they speak English and I just think, oh, I wish I could have that, right? And then so I started learning Tagalog, but then she would get annoyed with me because I didn't like we would just speak basic things like hello, good morning. I'm thinking, oh, I have to go through this process. And so, anywho, it's just this is making me think a lot about my relationships and how do I nurture that. And I think I have to kind of go back to my parents in a different way than how I am now. And there's these expectations of what I would like, and I think I have to let that stuff go. And what I do at work, I kind of have to start doing at home, where like I just need to listen to them. If they're saying things that I don't necessarily agree with or I get annoyed with, I have to be there, but then I also have to give myself that push of I also have to tell them how I feel and what's going on for me. And that's I've been kind of holding back on that just because of stuff that's happened when I was 5 with them that makes me feel like I can't say things when in the end I'm an adult now. I could, right? So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. You're sharing that reminds me of something that Rasma always says is that the we they should kind of speak the truth with folks when we're ready to speak the truth for folks, when we are available for the kind of like the reaction that's going to come. But if we're not ready, then we should hold on to if they're speaking our truth. And I'm paraphrasing. Those are not his words. And for me, I'll keep going back to this. Like all of this is a practice, right? It's all of this that we are doing in this year are suggested practices, and really, at least for me, I have to kind of pick a practice that I can actually spend time if they're doing, so that I can actually, if they get really skilled. And somebody in the chat wrote, Lama Rod says that care requires skill in a way that love does not, right? So in your conversations with your parents, like connecting to the heart, there's no language for that, right? There's no particular English or Tagalog or Spanish or lo que sea, right? The heart feels. But that care does require a skill, right? It does require the language. So just kind of also giving ourselves the spaciousness and the kind of like, for me, the care for ourselves and in the places where we're vulnerable, and the compassion for ourselves so that we can actually move to the places that we want to go. Nicole?
Sorry. I would like to share something, Antonio, that I think may be something that you might find interesting or maybe useful. Is that recently, because I heard you say that disconnect or that separate, there's almost a sense of mourning there with with your family. And recently I've come to understand that mourning and allowing yourself to feel the loss and the pain and the grief of a situation that is how it is, and allowing yourself to cry and really feel that is an act of self-compassion. Like for me, I didn't like mourning and being in touch with those feelings are actually alive, and that's life coming through you. And so something that I'm learning to do is how to hold myself and allow the grief, allow myself to really fully feel it and allow that to be my act of self-compassion. So I just offer that to you, is maybe that's a way to begin to open the space for there to be more softness between you and your family to connect at a deeper level.
Thank you, Nicole, for that. Thank you. I'm going to read a couple of other things in the chat. This meditation was very timely for me, touched on some things I've been working with, was already in progress, but this gave me a new way to think about it and some good affirmations to help. Let's see, you can raise, okay, not that one. You can raise your hand. the boundary as a vessel. Um, the small group conversations today have been so beautiful, such sacred containers to hold space for others, be seen and in relationship with each other. Being present to what is alive. Yes, thank you, Nicole. The gatherings are always special and sacred, but there is something a little extra today. Care. So thank you for putting that. Considerate, active attention, responding to emergent energy. I'm going to use that as my mantra. Thank you so much, Nicole, if you give me permission to do so. Let's see, beautiful vulnerability and awareness. Antonio, and I love that you're bringing humor along for the ride. Thank you for your sharing. And thank you, Antonio. What you're struggling with is so moving, how language can inhibit the capacity to communicate the nuances of care and vulnerability. I hear the love that is struggling to become more whole. So thank you. So we have a couple more minutes, and I would love to hear from folks that I've never heard your voice. And if you want me to pick on you, I can, but you can raise your hand. And we've come to the end of the time for this part. I just want to invite everyone to really before you get into the rest of your day, and as we move forward, I think the vulnerability is going to be coming in. So just find time to just care for yourself and really hold yourself tenderly, so that as we continue to do this work, we can actually be able to do so with lots of reverence and compassion for ourselves and for others. And we'll continue at the to explore places where where if they're going to be going in deeper. And if you at any time you need support, please if they reach out to myself or Joshua, and if they will either guide you to support, or we can do that ourselves. So thank you. All right, Joshua. Oh, I think I'm the first, and if they were going to go into announcements, if the and Renee will put those in the chat. If they just we sent out the theme packet. Please take time and spend time with it. There's a lot of great stuff there. And yeah, just a reminder to really pick, you know, uh, just kind of daily practices and relational practices, so that we can continue to skill up in terms of what this at the care for community mean. At the small groups, thank you everyone who responded to my email around small groups. I think I've responded to everyone. I've been traveling, so if I haven't responded to you, please send me a reminder email. If you're needing any support, for those who asked me about any open groups, I was able to find some open groups. And we'll continue to send out their supportive guidance for small groups. And after each of the Sunday sessions, I will be sending out they just kind of like prompt questions and guidance for each of the monthly theme packets, so that you can be discussing in your small groups. Joshua?
Thank you, Bethsaida. All right, friends. I'll be brief. We had to reschedule for a third time with Krista Tippett and Professor John Powell. There's a typo in the chat above if you saw it, but we will be convening with them. Sorry, I missed the timing. On Monday, August 28th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. This has been in a couple of our emails, and it's updated on our shared calendar. And this is the first time we've ever had a situation like this. So we're trusting in the mystery of its unfolding. And John is okay, and Krista and John are very enthused still to be with us all. So thank you for your patience and surrender to that process. This coming Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, Bethsaida and I are hosting tea time office hours from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific. So if you just want to connect with us and with some other folks on this journey, it's really an open space to, to share, to bring questions. So find us there this coming Friday. Saturday, July 26th, we'll have a 1 hour practice session going deeper into our theme this month around sacred relationships. And then we especially want to lift up that our teaching and practice session in August is unique. It's different. It's at a different time than all of our other regular monthly times. We will. I'm realizing. Sorry, I'm realizing that yeah, we're gonna start at 11 a.m. With a session with Norma Wong, who is Hawaiian and Zen teacher and just powerful, beautiful, soft, sacred presence. And then we'll take a break for a half hour and we'll come back and we're gonna have a session with Lila June, who is of Dene and European ancestry. And if you haven't followed Lila June before, she is a force of nature. And they both will help us start to dive into the theme around indigenous wisdom traditions and mystical traditions. So we're lifting this up just to say if you can make it in your calendar, please strive to be there. We will also have recordings, if you're unavailable that day. With that shared, we have the gift, the blessing, the honor to have a closing from Enver. So, Enver, thank you so much for closing us out today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joshua, the cider, and Stephanie for opening us this morning with a beautiful poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. I was going to share a poem by one of my favorite poems today, John O'Donohue, but then Joshua, you mentioned about Joanne Macy. And I just keep thinking about her. What an incredible bodhisattva, a human being so committed to earth and humanity, preserving and nurturing it. And in honor of Joan Macy, who not only done a lot of activism around environmental justice and engaged Buddhism, but also translated some of the poems of Rilke and wrote her own poems. So today, in honor of Joan Macy, who is in a sacred transition, I want to read her poem. And as a gift to you all, it's called Grace and the Great Turning. When you act on behalf of something greater than yourself, you begin to feel it acting through you with power greater than your own. This is grace. Today, as we take risks for the sake of something greater than our separate individual lives, we're feeling graced by other beings and by Earth itself. Those with whom and on whose behalf we act give us strength and eloquence and staying power we didn't know we had. Those with whom and on whose behalf we act give us strength and eloquence and staying power we didn't know we had. We just need to practice knowing that and remembering that we are sustained by each other in the web of life. Our true power comes as a gift, like grace, because in truth, it is sustained by others. If we practice drawing on the wisdom and beauty and strength of our fellow human beings and our fellow species, we can go into any situation and trust that the courage and intelligence required will be supplied. Joanna Macy. Thank you.
Thank you, Enver. Beautiful. Can you, both Enver and Stephanie, post your opening and closing either in the WhatsApp or at the Mighty Networks?
Beautiful. Feel free to come off mute and say goodbye and gratitudes, friends, blessings on your day and weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Rachel.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Again.